All right, so you're getting ready for a mine mechanical engineer interview. And that's great. We're going to help you get ready. Using these RoleCatcher guides, not only will we go through some tough interview questions, but we'll also give you some career insights so you can see where this job could take you.
And RoleCatcher's AI can be a big help in this whole process. It's almost like having a personal coach who goes through those job descriptions and shows you how to change your resume and answers to really stand out.
Yeah, it's like a cheat code for those applicant tracking systems. But we'll give you the help you need even if you aren't using AI. So let's jump right in. The first question is, describe your experience with designing and implementing mechanical systems for underground mines. So what's the interviewer really trying to find out with a question like that?
They really want to know how much you know, especially when it comes to those difficult underground systems. Think about certain projects that you've worked on, like designing ventilation systems or installing conveyors, stuff that shows your experience in underground mines.
So it's not just about what you did, but how what you did made an impact. Now, what if they followed that up with, tell me about a time a design implementation hit a snag. How'd you handle it?
That's where you have to show you can solve problems even when you are stressed. So have an example ready. Maybe you had to change a design because of some unexpected rocks. Or maybe something important broke and you had to come up with a new solution. Walk them through how you figured things out and highlight how you can think on the spot and solve problems.
That's really good advice. Now for question 2. It says, can you explain the process you use for identifying and solving mechanical issues within a mine? It seems like they're looking for more than just someone who can fix things.
Exactly. They want to see that you have a specific way you solve problems, kind of like a detective figuring out a case. First, you get the evidence. That might mean looking at system logs, doing a visual inspection, or running diagnostics. Then you start eliminating possibilities, testing different ideas until you find the root of the problem.
So it's all about showing your analytical skills. Now, what if they push a little further and ask you to? Describe a time you encountered a particularly tricky mechanical issue.
This is where you can really shine. Pick a story that shows you can think critically and solve difficult problems. Don't be afraid to get technical. Talk about the specific parts involved, the tools you used, and the steps you took to fix the problem.
This is where RoleCatcher's AI is really helpful. It looks at your answer, checks for certain words, and even tells you how to change your answer for different jobs.
Right. It makes sure you're saying the right things that hiring managers are looking for.
All right, question 3 is, how do you ensure that mechanical systems within a mine are operating at optimal efficiency? Efficiency is important everywhere, but especially in mining, right?
Exactly. It's all about keeping things running smoothly, getting the most out of the equipment, and saving money. To answer this question well, you need to show that you understand how efficiency works, especially when it comes to complex mining systems.
Can you give some examples of what someone could say to show how they approach efficiency?
You could talk about things like predictive maintenance. That means using data to figure out when things might break before they actually do. Or maybe you found ways to save energy by making equipment use less power. The main thing is to show that you aren't just fixing things when they break. You're also thinking ahead to make things run better.
So here comes the tough follow-up question. Describe a situation where you identified an efficiency bottleneck in a mine's mechanical system. What did you do?
Now you need to show that you take charge and make things better. Maybe you saw a problem happening over and over with a piece of equipment, and you came up with a new maintenance plan to stop it from happening. Or maybe you looked at the system data and figured out a way to make a process better, which saved the company money. Choose a story that shows how you can analyze problems and come up with solutions.
And remember, RoleCatcher can help make sure your answer fits the specific job you want. It's like having your own editor for your interview answers.
All right, so the next question is, can you discuss your experience with hydraulic systems used in mining equipment? It seems like we're getting into the specifics of mining machinery now.
We are. Hydraulics do a lot of the heavy lifting in mining, so you have to know how they work. You should talk about things like pumps, valves, actuators, and fluids.
Exactly. Don't just say, I know how hydraulics work. Tell them about specific times you've worked with these systems, like when you fixed a complex problem, did preventative maintenance, or even helped design and install a new hydraulic system.
Now here comes the follow-up. Imagine a hydraulic system failure caused a major disruption to operations. What was your role in diagnosing and resolving the issue?
This is where they see if you can handle pressure and meet deadlines. Think of a time when you had to think fast, work with other people, and use your technical skills to get things back on track. Did you have to make a temporary fix while you were waiting for parts? Or maybe you led a team to put in a permanent solution. Those are the kind of details that will make you stand out.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you make your answer even better by making sure you're using the right words and highlighting the skills that are most important for that specific job.
It's all about showing off what you know in a way that the hiring manager will understand.
All right, so for question 5, we have, how do you ensure that mechanical systems within a mine comply with safety regulations and standards? This one's a big one, because mining can be dangerous.
Yes, safety is the most important thing in this industry. And this question is all about seeing if you're committed to keeping things safe. The interviewer wants to know that you know the rules and that you actually follow them.
So don't just say safety is important. Tell them what you know and what you've done, right?
Exactly. Start by mentioning the important safety rules and standards, like the ones from MSHA in the US or similar groups in other countries. Then explain how you make sure people follow those rules. Do you do regular safety checks? Do you teach people about safety procedures? Do you stay updated on the newest safety guidelines?
So they want to see that you're proactive and pay attention to details.
Exactly. And to show them you really understand, be ready for a follow-up question like, tell me about a time when you identified a potential safety hazard in a mine's mechanical system. How did you address it?
That's a good question. So what kind of example would really make someone stand out here?
Think of a time when you went above and beyond. Maybe you saw something dangerous that other people missed, and you made a new safety rule to fix it. Or maybe you had to convince someone who didn't want to follow a safety rule. The important thing is to show that you can find risks, explain them to people, and take action to make things safer.
That's where you need to show your technical skills and your leadership skills. And remember, folks, RoleCatcher can help you create an answer that highlights those qualities and make sure it fits the job you're applying for.
It's all about saying the right things and showing the skills that matter to the hiring manager.
All right, we've gone through 5 of those tough interview questions. I already feel more confident. But you know what? We've got 5 more to go.
We're back, and we're going even deeper into these mine mechanical engineer interview questions to give you the strategies you need to impress the hiring manager.
And we're still using these great resources from RoleCatcher, adding even more helpful advice to help you really shine. Let's jump back into the questions. Question 6. Can you discuss your experience with designing and implementing ventilation systems for underground mines? So this one's all about keeping the air moving.
Literally. Ventilation is super important underground. It's not just so people can breathe, it's about removing dangerous gases and controlling temperature and humidity so the mine can run efficiently.
So what kind of things should someone talk about when answering this question?
Think about all the different ventilation systems you've worked on. Did you design any networks, pick out the right fans and ductwork, or figure out how much airflow you needed? Maybe you even use some special software for ventilation simulations. This is where you can show off your technical skills.
And I'm guessing they might ask a follow-up question, like, describe a time you had to modify a ventilation system to address a specific challenge.
For sure. Things change all the time in mining. Maybe the way they were mining changed, and you had to redesign the ventilation system. Or maybe they suddenly found a dangerous gas. Be ready with a story that shows you can solve problems and adapt.
It really helps to think about those situations ahead of time. And speaking of being prepared, RoleCatcher's AI can help you change your answers to fit each job.
Yeah, it's like having a guide that makes sure you're saying all the right things.
Okay, question number 7. It says, how do you stay up to date with the latest advancements in mechanical engineering technology? It seems like that's important for all engineers.
You're right. Technology changes all the time, and employers want to see that you're always learning. So show them that you're not just keeping up, but you're actually ahead of the game.
So what can you say to stand out?
Be specific. Don't just say, I read industry journals. Tell them what journals you read. Mention the conferences or workshops you've been to. Are you a member of any professional groups like SME or ASME? All those things show that you're staying current.
And what if they ask you this? What recent advancement in mining technology excites you, and how do you see it impacting the industry?
That's your chance to show how excited you are about this field and how you think about the future. Have you been keeping up with autonomous mining equipment? Or maybe you're interested in using AI and machine learning to predict when things need maintenance. Pick something that really interests you. and be ready to explain how it could change mining.
That's how you show them you're not just looking for a job. You want to help the whole industry move forward.
Exactly. That kind of enthusiasm will really impress them.
Okay, question 8. Can you discuss your experience with maintenance and repair of mining equipment? This seems like something a mine mechanical engineer has to know how to do.
You're right. Keeping those big machines working is super important. So talk about your hands-on experience with different kinds of equipment and your ability to do both routine maintenance and major repairs.
What are some important things to mention when answering this?
Talk about the different kinds of mining equipment you've worked on and the specific maintenance tasks you've done. Did you start any preventative maintenance programs? Did you use any special diagnostic tools? Those details will help you stand out.
I bet this follow-up question is a tough one. Describe a time when a critical piece of equipment unexpectedly failed. How did you handle it?
That's a real pressure test. So have a story ready that shows you can solve problems under pressure and get things working again quickly. Talk about how you figured out the problem, worked with others, and came up with a solution. And be sure to mention how you got things back up and running as fast and safe as possible.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher can give you feedback on your answer to make sure it's what the hiring manager is looking for.
Let's talk about career progression for a minute. The RoleCatcher Career Guide has some great information about different jobs and responsibilities for mine mechanical engineers. It's really inspiring to see how you can start at the bottom and work your way up to a leadership position.
That's great. Okay, so question 9 is, how do you prioritize and manage multiple projects simultaneously? It seems like that's a useful skill for any job.
For sure, but in mining, things move fast, and deadlines are really important, so you have to be organized.
So how do you answer this one well?
Talk about how you manage projects. Do you use things like Gantt charts or Kanban boards? Explain how you decide what's most important, who does what, how you track progress, and how you communicate with everyone involved.
They want to know if you're organized, proactive.
And a good communicator.
Exactly. And to see if you can really do it, they might ask you this. Tell me about a time when you had to juggle multiple high-priority projects with conflicting deadlines. How did you approach the situation and what was the outcome?
That's a tricky one. So what kind of story would really impress them? Choose a situation where you had to prioritize, delegate tasks, and communicate clearly. Maybe you had to move people around, change deadlines, or even have tough conversations to make sure everything got done on time. The important thing is to show that you can stay calm, make good decisions, and get things done even when it's difficult.
Don't forget, folks, RoleCatcher can help you fine-tune your answer and make sure you're saying the right things for the job you want.
It's all about presenting your experience in the best way possible.
All right, last question in this set. Can you discuss your experience with designing and implementing conveyor systems for a mine? The conveyors are like the veins and arteries of a mine, right? They keep things moving.
That's a great way to put it. Conveyor systems are how they move ore, waste rock, and other stuff around the mine. So this question is all about how well you understand conveyor systems.
So what kind of things should someone mention in their answer?
Talk about all the different types of conveyor systems you've worked on, like belt conveyors, chain conveyors, or screw conveyors. Tell them about your experience designing conveyor layouts, picking the right parts, and making sure everything is safe and reliable.
It sounds like they want someone who knows how conveyors work.
Exactly. And of course, there might be a follow-up question, like, describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a major issue with a conveyor system, such as a belt tear, a motor failure, or a blockage.
Now the pressure's really on. What kind of example would show them you can think critically and find solutions?
Think of a time when you had to quickly figure out what was wrong, find the root cause, and fix it so there was as little downtime as possible. Maybe you had to make a tough call, like shutting down part of the conveyor system to keep it from getting worse. Or maybe you had to get creative to make a temporary fix while waiting for new parts. Those are the kind of details that will show them you're not just talking, you can actually solve problems.
And one last time, remember that RoleCatcher's AI can help you make your answer even better. So you're using the right words and talking about the skills that are most important for that job.
It's all about showing off your experience in the best way you can.
Okay, we've done all 10 of the tough interview questions.
Yeah.
But we're not finished yet. Okay, so we've gone over all those tough questions, but there's more to it than just the interview, right? What happens after you get that mine mechanical engineer job? Like, where can you actually go from there?
That's where it gets exciting. The RoleCatcher Career Guide is great for this. It shows you the different stages of a mine mechanical engineer's career. Entry level, junior, and senior. It's like a map that shows you how your responsibilities change and how you become more of an expert over time.
I like that, a roadmap. Let's go through those stages. What are some of the things you would be doing at each level? What makes each stage different?
Well, at the entry level, you're usually helping the more experienced engineers, getting some real-world experience. You might do things like inspections, troubleshooting equipment problems, and helping to get things repaired or replaced. It's all about learning the basics.
So you're learning how everything works. Then you move up to junior mine mechanical engineer. What changes then?
The RoleCatcher Guide says that at the junior level, you start managing your own projects more. You'll be doing more detailed inspections, putting preventative maintenance plans into action, and even working with contractors and suppliers. It's more responsibility, and you get to make more decisions on your own.
So you're not just following orders anymore. And then you get to that top level, senior mine mechanical engineer. What's that like?
That's where you really become a leader. The RoleCatcher Guide mentions things like leading a team of engineers, creating big maintenance programs, overseeing major repairs and replacements, and even doing studies to see if new projects are possible.
Wow. So at that point, you're not just a technical expert. You're a leader and a strategist. It makes sense that you have to keep learning in this field. RoleCatcher's Elevating Your Career section really talks about how important degrees and certifications are.
Yeah, they mentioned the Professional Engineer PE license, the Certified Mine Safety Professional, CMSP, and the Certified Maintenance and Reliability Professional, CMRP. And there are a lot more. There are so many ways to improve your skills and show that you're an expert.
And we can't forget about networking, going to conferences, joining groups like SME or ISMSP. Those are great ways to meet other professionals, stay up to date, and find new opportunities.
Yeah, it's about building relationships and learning more. It all works together.
So what does all this mean for you, our listener who's getting ready for that mine mechanical engineer interview? We've talked about those hard questions, how to answer them well, and even what your career could look like in the future.
And don't forget that RoleCatcher's AI can help you make your resume and answers perfect for each job, so you're more likely to get that interview.
This has been a really informative deep dive, but here's one last thing to think about. RoleCatcher has a list of over 20 other jobs that use similar skills. So maybe mine mechanical engineer is the right job for you. Or maybe it's a step towards something even more specific. Either way, you're ready to explore those options and take control of your career. We've given you the tools and information. Now it's up to you to go out there and ace that interview. You got this